we performed for Ukrainian National Day. And I sang Oyu Vushnevo Musadu in Ukrainian, and I was the only artist who was not from Ukraine. So the event took place at the Ukrainian Institute in New York, and it was very elegant and it was very nice, very well organized, and there were lots of people performing, and I felt kind of honored that I could perform, while I was not Ukrainian. And for me, it was an eye-opener once again. Of course, I do a lot in the Holocaust remembrance. That's my big thing that I do as an artist and in my private life. And being also from Germany, I know all the war stories from my grandparents. And of course, the war in Ukraine and other wars that we've had, you hear everything about it. You see stuff on the news, you read in the newspaper. But when you see the war coming basically at you, where you see, what it does to people, like with the young soldiers, with the severe injuries, it's an entirely different thing. So I have to admit, it was the most emotional national day I've ever experienced from any country. There were not only the soldiers there with their injuries, there were people there crying, people telling stories how they lost their home and how they lost loved ones. And I was sitting there and I was crying for like the whole time people were talking, and I'm not really an easy crier. It's not like, I can get emotional, but I don't cry easily. So for me, that was really a big deal. And then, then they had the message from Zelensky, from the president. They, had the big presentation, and it was very, very emotional because you see, the soldiers or the ambassador, everybody was so emotional, and they were, people had tears in their eyes, even the strong men, and that was, for me, it was very hard to see, because it's a country. Ukraine is our neighbor, really, if you look at it, and it's a war raging in Europe, and I believe it concerns all of us, not just Ukrainians, the reason why I got involved with this whole Ukrainian thing was a total coincidence, really, because when the war broke out, my husband and I were in South Africa because we have a place there. We spend a lot of time in South Africa, and I have to tell you, I was afraid of a nuclear war. So I thought that was going to be the end of it, and it was just the second week or so into the war when my stepson and his friend went down to the border of Poland with medical supplies. The official, they did the official thing where because you couldn't do it unofficially, you had to go through the whatever organization. They brought down medical supplies, and there was lots of chaos going on because all the Ukrainian refugees crossed the border, nobody knew where they were going. There were lots of women and children without men because the men couldn't leave the country. And then my stepson and his friend, they brought 2 women and 2 children back in the car to Germany. So basically then they were there, and nobody knew what are we going to do with them. Nobody had an idea what was going on, and it was chaos. And so the 2 women and children stayed at the friend's place for 3 months, and finally got their own, apartments. And the German government, gave refugees money and the possibility for education for the children to go to school. And as far as I know, the children are doing well in German schools, speak German fluently, and the 2 women also have jobs. So then I decided, as an artist, I thought, we have to do something, because, what can you do? In your own small world, I believe everybody can do something and can contribute to something. And I decided, with another friend of mine who's a great singer from the United States. She lives in Bonn, Germany, where I'm from, or where we lived when we were in Germany, because I frequently travel there, so I have a place there. Anyway, long story short, we organized this huge benefit concert with some really great artists from that area, different types of artists, in a theater in Bonn, Germany, that is famous, where I perform all the time. And it was a big success. We collected 25,000 euros. We had a lot of people attending the concert, and to honor Ukraine, I decided to learn a song in Ukrainian, because I already sing in 12 languages. I'm some sort of a language buff, and also as an entertainer, I really love doing shows in different languages. So I learned a song in Ukrainian, And a friend of mine who was from Greece, of all places, he was recommending O Yuvishne Vomusadu, and I was looking it up, and I thought, oh my God, it's such a beautiful song, and I knew everybody would know it, you know, because I wanted to sing something that people know in Ukraine. So I learned the song Ukrainian, and we did this concert. We collected the money for the children and for the women refugees. And so here I was involved, you know, with the whole thing. And, you know, then of course I followed a lot in the broadcasts, and I looked up other songs, you know, what's Ukrainian culture, what do we, you know, got involved with Ukrainians here at the mission in New York. And yeah, so then I sang at Ukrainian National Day, and then we decided, what could we do for the soldiers? Because I said to Yaroslava Sochka, you know, the assistant to the ambassador here for the Ukrainian mission, I said, we have to do something. I want to do something. What could we do for the soldiers? And then she said, why don't you just invite them to your show? And I thought, okay, that's a great idea. But I didn't want to just invite them to the show, because, you know, of course I wanted to invite them to the show for them to have a great time, to see maybe other things, that there's, you know, some joy out there, that New York is the city of entertainment, and that they don't have to just sit in their, you know, house there in Staten Island and focus on their own injuries, but that, you know, that they can enjoy life. And the owner of the theater here is Peter Martin, who is American, but he's of Ukrainian descent. And he's a huge fan of the ambassadors. He follows all his UN speeches. So when I said I want to invite the soldiers, he said, we're going to do it. And we're going to serve them free drinks so they can have free drinks. And then I thought, okay, that's all great. We will do this for the soldiers so they have fun, and that's important. But what else can we do? Because, you know, maybe we can organize some sort of a benefit in the sense of, you know, where people can donate money. And that's how Yaroslava got me involved with, you know, with kind deeds and the initiative of the Ukrainian president for people to donate money to the soldier situation. So I created a little video, you know, I mentioned that to, like, all over, you know, social media, that, you know, we as artists support Ukrainian soldiers, and that everybody can do their share. And if you want to donate money, here are the two websites where you can donate money to. So I posted it all over Instagram and Facebook, and, you know, I sent out newsletters, and we will have little programs here at the show where, again, we are mentioning the support for Ukrainian soldiers, so people at the show, they can see the links where they can donate money to the two organizations if they would like to do that. I'm presenting different shows in this theater. I have presented different shows in this theater for many years, and this is a brand new show. It's a world premiere of a show called Timeless Songs from the Silver Screen, and it's a new show honoring composers and the power of their music in the film industry. What that means, we're presenting songs from movies, famous films, Casablanca, Breakfast at Tiffany's, Schindler's List, Pearl Harbor, like big blockbusters. And you know, we sing basically this, or I will sing the songs from that particular, from the era, from the movies. We'll start in the silent movie era, Charlie Chaplin, Modern Times, and, you know, we basically end in the modern world. But most of the songs that we picked up, famous songs from James Bond, and, you know, many different films, Gilda, Gigi, from the 1940s and 50s. And it's basically a beautiful musical voyage and a dedication to the film industry, really. So everybody who loves movies and old films and old music, you know, they will love this show. It's also historic, and it's funny. You know, I build in my own personal funny anecdotes. I talk about my own life and why I'm singing the certain songs, and how certain movies and certain songs have touched me personally, and, you know, make it personal, basically. So it's roughly an hour and a half show. Yeah, it should be fun.
What's your favorite song?
In the show?
Yes.
I have several. It's probably Moon River from Breakfast at Tiffany's, or Smile from Modern Times by Charlie Chaplin, or I have several. It's very hard to pick. Then there's Diamonds Are a Girl's Best Friend, sung by Marilyn Monroe for the movie Gentlemen Prefer Blondes from 1953. So there's a lot of different, there's sexy, there's funny, there is emotional, so you get the whole 9 yards, yeah. It's 2 shows. Saturday the 9th is the premiere, tomorrow at 2 p.m. And then we have another follow-up performance on the 12th, which is Tuesday at 7 p.m. And that's when the soldiers are attending and several people from the mission. So everybody, you're welcome to come and join us at the theater. You will, experience a great show, very American, very New York, very Hollywood. We have great lighting, great costumes. Come to the show, and also if you want to support the soldiers, there will be a possibility to do that, because in the programs we have the 2 links published where you can basically click on or whatever and take it home with you and then donate money to the good cause for the soldiers.